Hi, my name is Yasmin. Today we're gonna talk about two movies, Red Tails and This Shall Not Go Wrong. They have a common theme together, which is World War. Red Tails is set during World War II, and This Shall Not Go Wrong is set during World War One. Some of the differences between the two is Red Tails is an actual movie, whereas This Shall Not Go Wrong is a documentary, which Austin will talk a little bit more about that. But starting with Red Tails, it is a movie released in 2012 and directed by Anthony Hemingway, starring a lot of African American actors during that time. It really did play a lot in the African American community. This movie is about African American pilots in the Civil War and how they might have impacted history in a good way. This movie gives us a couple of themes that were very interesting to watch. The first one of them being addiction. A lot of the pilots were going through a lot of addictions. For example, alcohol. Easy, who was the captain of the team, went through a lot of it, alcohol addiction, which affected his ability to be a captain. Similarly, in This Shall Not Go Wrong, a lot of people who were in the front lines of the war took shelter in alcohol and cigarettes and might have abused them because of the harshness and the gravity of what they were seeing. They needed an outlet for them to just take out that anxiety, anger, stress. The second movie that we're gonna talk about, the second theme that we're gonna talk about is racism. In the movie Red Tails, race is a very big part of it. In the beginning, we see segregation between white pilots and African American pilots, which was a reflection of American society at the time. It was very interesting because the movie itself is based in Italy, so you would think it would be different, but it's not. The segregation between African American pilots and white pilots was not just location-wise, it was also the jobs. The jobs given to African American pilots were very different from the jobs given to white pilots, which was very unfair and very unjust. And throughout the movie, you see African American pilots and their captains and their colonels trying to fight for them to get an actual job and to be respected for that. So at the end, there was this kind of flip on racism when a lot of African American pilots were disrespected by white people. They fought with them and all of that, and at the end that completely flipped. They gained respect for them, and they're much closer now. They consider them classmates and comrades. So yeah, overall I would give Red Tails a very big thumbs up, and I'll pass it on to Austin.
Thank you, Yasmin, for that incredible summary of the movie Red Tails. You did a really good job of talking about the different issues that went on with it, such as substance abuse, addiction, and racism. Those are definitely real problems that we saw with the Tuskegee Airmen as they were overcoming these horrible acts of racism against them. And then I would like to compare the movie, which was from World War II, with a movie about World War One. What movie is that, you ask? Wow, thanks for asking. That movie is called They Shall Not Grow Old, and it's about World War One. It is about the front lines of the French, the English in France, facing the Germans. And it's really incredible because it's real footage of what's going on, and it's also real commentary from soldiers who actually fought in the war. And it really shows how gruesome it was. I mean, the trenches were a very gnarly place, somewhere that I would never want to be. And but it did a really good job showing the reality of it, and it was filmed beautifully. They did a great job of taking the footage that was over 100 years old and modernizing it so it looks really good. So cinematography was great, the commentary was great, and it showed us some pretty pretty incredible things that these people had to overcome. They were in trenches for a year at a time. They grew so accustomed to violence and gore, and just being scared all the time, and like shell shocked all the time because of everything that was going on. And I would like to compare the differences from World War I and II, main and directly address the themes that Yasmin had just addressed. And one of the big differences is that in this movie, you don't see race as a big theme. I mean, unless you want to count um, English versus German, but within its own military, there just wasn't any other. It was just all white people that were on the front lines that it showed. I mean, to be honest, I don't know for sure if there were many black people or any other people fighting like there were in World War II. This movie really just didn't show that. So that was a pretty big difference. Is that it didn't really touch on race. And as far as substance abuse and addiction, you can see addiction with like cigarettes, pipes and stuff like that, but it really didn't touch on those themes very much. What it did touch on was how hard it was for them to go through that. And I would say the main theme of They Shall Not Grow Old is that war is and always should be avoidable. It's terrible. It really has no place in a civilized society like we have today. World War I was kind of just unnecessary. It was very unnecessary. And war is bad. War! Huh, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. So yeah. Thank you for coming and seeing our video. We really appreciate it.